Hey, so you know what? It's been quite a while since I've done a live video on Facebook. You know why? Because I've been doing the podcast and I don't have to do hair and makeup for the podcast. But I don't really have hair and makeup done today because it's rainy and it's wet. But hey, everybody, about a sort of fire here. I'm off in a really good mood right now. You know why? Because I did something very therapeutic for the last couple of hours. Normally, I have clients during this time, but today I didn't. So it was very therapeutic for me. No, actually, this is the second year in a row now. This is a little project that I do with my family. I'm one of the things I'm known for is random dance parties, and so we've decided now to start videotaping them, and then I'm making kind of like a video slideshow with the dancing and the music, and it's become this production. And but I get my granddaughters to help me with it, and so I don't craft, so I don't crochet or knit or make things, but I make videos and I dance and I choreograph and I'm creative in that way. So I'm working on these projects with my granddaughters, and we just wrapped up our 2021 dance video, and so I'm kind of in a good mood. I just wanted to reiterate. I talked about this in yesterday's podcast about when you have when life is kind of throwing you some detours or some roadblocks or difficulties, which haven't we all been experiencing them for the past couple of years. It's really good to have some tools in your back pocket to help lift your spirits, elevate you from that downward spiral, improve your mood. Because you know what? Here's the thing. You might be badass. In fact, I know if you're watching this right now, it's because you're badass, but it's not going to be enough in 2022. Nope. You're going to have to get your license in order to have some credibility and to have all the tools that you need. So, yesterday in my podcast, I want to just kind of share with you because I'd like to invite you to go check it out. I shared with the audience, you hopefully, about my whole experience and adventure coming home from Texas. And the whole idea was, the reason I shared it was because it could have ruined my whole trip. I could have let that be the entire, end result of my trip to Texas. But I really did have a great trip out there. The 2 days driving out there was very therapeutic for me. I listened to music and some audiobooks, and I had some conversations, and it was good to just sort of I love road trips. It was just good to let go of everything. And then I had 5 great days with my family celebrating Christmas. And then guess what? On the way home, that's when terror struck basically. But anyway, so I'm not going to tell you the same story here on this video, but I do know that you'll find some interesting anecdotes on my podcast for successful badassery. So here's what I know for sure is that when I was training in advertising and sales for radio, my family owned a radio station, and that was my first job. And one of my first gigs was to sell advertising. But I learned very quickly that there is no one size fits all solution to any problem. And that's why when, like in advertising sales, you can't just walk in there with a package and say, this is what you need. And you need to kind of feel for them what their needs are and what would work for them, and even what their budget is and what audience they want to want to reach. The same goes for you with your mental health. I've had conversations with business owners. Well, what problem do you solve? And my answer is, well, what problem do you have? Because I have the tools in my toolbox to solve any problem that you're having right now. And why do I know that? Because I'm a licensed psychotherapist, and not everybody who comes into my office has the same problem. Now, they have some symptoms and some similarities involved because I do specialize in certain areas: depression, anxiety, and a lot of times a comorbidity of a chronic illness. But that doesn't necessarily mean what you have got going on is going to be the same as your friends or your business acquaintances or anybody else in your community. You might be having some similar symptoms of anxiety and depression, but your issues are not my issues or their issues or their issues. So there is no cookie cutter approach. But I will tell you this: badass will help you. It's the attitude adjustment you need. And the reason I came on today is because I'm putting together all the components for my first webinar in 2022 is Rediscover Your Badass Self. So I think it's time for you to get on my email list. First of all, you can go to my website, licensed2bebadass.com, and get the Badass Habits ebooks. In fact, when I'm done with this video, I'm just going to put the link in the comments so that you can just click the link and go get on my email list. Get your Badass Habits ebook. That's totally free. It's 31 micro habits, mental health and leadership habits that you can practice and start right now to improve how you interact with people, how you feel about things that you can do. Everybody needs to start out with some new habits. If you want something you've never had, you've got to do something you've never done. Start out with this. Go to my website, snag the Badass Habits. Then you'll be on my email list. And so next week after New Year's, I'll start sending out the registration invitation for the Rediscover Your Badass Self webinar, totally free. I've got lots of free tools for you. So I've got the podcast, on successful badassery, Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day, which thank you very much. I'm getting phone calls and emails and all sorts of stuff. You are discovering the Apple a Day. And that's just 60 seconds and it's daily. So if all you have is a minute for your mental health, I got you covered with the Apple a Day. Because, what they say, if an apple a day keeps the doctor away, Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day will keep the crazy away. And then I also have obviously the podcast for Successful Badassery, and then the webinar coming up next week, and the Badass Habits. So don't tell me you don't know what to do. Don't say you don't know where to go for help. And if you say that you're badass, and I believe that you are, because anybody who has not quit, who has not given up after all of this, you are badass. But I don't think it's going to be enough in 2022 to just be badass. You have to be, I'll use this. You have to be licensed to be badass. That's right. You gotta have a credibility. More conversations I have with people always remind me, oh yeah, me as a licensed psychotherapist. People used to think, oh, I thought you were just a life coach. I get that because I did start promoting myself as coaching. I didn't really promote myself as licensed psychotherapist. There's a bit of a difference, but once people recognize I have a license too, gave me new credibility. So this is how it all was developed. I've been doing FCC compliance for radio and television stations for over 20 years. Second generation broadcaster. That was my career prior to becoming a licensed psychotherapist. But I have an agreement with the Federal Communications Commission that I have the privileges and the rights and the skill sets to certify that a radio or a television station meets their obligations with the FCC to keep their license. Pretty important gig. And so I figure, well, if the FCC says I can, certify radio and television stations that they are in compliance, then as a licensed psychotherapist, I can certify badasses. So stick with me. If you want to live a badass life, and even when you get broke down on the side of the road, or you have other tragedies that are going on, you're going to have the tools in your toolbox to cope and to navigate your way through it so that you don't destroy your life. You want to live badass? Just come with me. Hop on the bus to Badassville. Let's go. All right. So today I want you to start with the Badass Habits ebook. I'll put the link in my comments. Then I want you to start with the Rediscover Your Badass Self webinar. And in the meantime, I've got 2 podcasts for you, both on the same platform. That's the Kelly Orchard's Apple a Day, 60 seconds on wisdom, success, and personal growth. And then the podcast for Successful Badassery. So remember, it's not enough these days to be badass. You're going to need to get licensed, and I'm going to help you turn your dreams and aspirations into reality. But it doesn't happen overnight. You got to have the tools in your toolbox, and it's not about thinking that you want a better life. It's actually, let's go do. So when my clients come in here and I give them a tool or a task or something, they say, I'm trying. I really am trying. And you know what I tell them? No, you're not. You're doing. You're not trying. You are doing. As long as you're doing something, anything to improve your life. And if you're making a New Year's resolution, good for you. I never make New Year's resolutions. I just set goals all year long. But this is always a good time to remind you that, hey, say no to a New Year's resolution. Hop on the bus to Badassville. Let's go have a great 2022. Meanwhile, this will be my last video of the year. I realized when I was looking at my memories that I had one popping up that I did last year and the year before. I still am doing the word of the year for those of you who have ever followed me before. But the thing is that I'm doing a podcast now, so I don't get on and do a lot of videos anymore. Mainly just because I'm all my content's going over there where it's stored and saved, and you can scroll and you can listen to all of it, because it is it's topical, and I go through the entire badass acronym for you. So yeah, I am happy. I just got to spend a good couple hours with my granddaughters making a video, a dance video with family photos and everything. So it cheered me up, and I thought, oh, this is a good time to just kind of go live and say hello to you. Hi, happy New Year. I hope that 2022 is better for you than it was in 2021. I don't know where you're at, what's been going on in your life, but here I am sharing some love. My word this year was grace. So here's some grace for you. Happy New Year, and I'll see you later. I got more clients to take care of, and then I'm gonna be celebrating some New Year's stuff myself. Um, because I got plans for 2022, and we'll see what's going to happen. I hope you do too, because it's going to be a lot of successful badassery going on in this world. So grab the Badass Habits ebook, and see you later, badass. Have a great day. Remember, be bold, be brave, be confident, be badass. And it won't stop. Why won't it stop? Interesting. So there we go.